Welcome to the Group Leader Podcast. I'm so excited to be here, and I got Glenn Underhill here to kick us off. So the one, the only.
Well, I don't know about the one and the only. But,
well, there is only one Glenn
there
Underhill.
is only one Glenn Underhill. Yes, absolutely. Let's have a twin brother I never knew about.
If you're out there, let us know if you're out there. He wants to find his twin brother.
That's right.
If you're out there.
That would be great.
Yeah,
I've been an only child my whole life, so if I really have one, I want to know. I'm sure my parents would want to know too.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. Or you could just have a sibling now.
That's right.
And your dreams that you wanted forever
All my dreams
are
have come true.
fulfilled. So, hey, welcome to the podcast. This is just meant to be fun, informal, just a way for us to connect with you as leaders throughout the week and to kind of help you in this season. You know, leading groups is hard. It's challenging. And so just trying to figure out what are some of those tips and tricks? What are some of the inspiring stories just to help you as a leader continue to lead? And so we want to keep these short, but we're going to have fun, especially when we got Glenn on. We're going to laugh a lot. But we want to have some fun and just make sure that as you are listening, you're not only learning and being inspired, but you get to join in with what's going on even at the Cross Creek staff level.
Yeah.
I know sometimes there's a disconnect, and here it is. Here's the bridge coming to you every Monday to your inbox.
The bridge.
So, Glenn, welcome to the podcast.
Well, Cam, thanks for having me, man. I'm really excited to be on this podcast, and man, I love everything about groups, and think that groups really are a catalyst for dynamic personal growth, but also a dynamic. I think they kind of are a great catalyst for spurring a church towards numerical growth too. So I think it has a mutual numerical and spiritual. So it's the best in both. So I love it. I love everything about what we're doing here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your family? Because I think some people, they know pastor spiritual development.
Yep.
They kind of run into you in the hall, but there may be some people watching going, who is this guy? Like, what? He just randomly shows up to my Connect group.
That's right.
He's got coffee in his hand.
Who's that weirdo that kind of comes in out of nowhere? Yeah, so I obviously, as Cam was saying, my name is Glenn Underhill. I'm the pastor of spiritual development here at Cross Creek Church. I've been here. I'm going on my 5th year, which is shocking to me that we've been working together for 5 years.
It's been the best 5, baby.
Well, I'll pay you later for that. But and I used to be on staff here. Came in 06 or in 07, and then we were here for 8 years, and then we left and went to a church in Atlanta, and came back here in 21. So yeah, I've been here this second time around almost 5 years. So I serve as the pastor of spiritual development, as I said earlier. Basically, I give oversight to kids, students, and adults, and get to have, I think, the best team on our team holistically.
That's right.
There. So
it's the best team. It's okay.
The best team. I'm willing to admit it.
I'm just saying, if someone else is listening from one of the other teams, no shame. We're just saying.
We're just calling it for what it is.
We're just calling it for what it is.
That's right.
That's what we're doing.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, and I think you even asked a little bit about my family. So I'm married to my wife, Dawn. We've been together. We've been married for 30 years. And we have 4 kids. Our oldest is Luke, and he's 25. My next son is Landon. He's 22. And then I have a daughter that is 20. Her name is Lainey, and another daughter whose name is Lily, and she is 17, and she is a junior at Birdville.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. You got them all across the board here.
I do. I'm getting close to the empty nest stage, so I got a little bit of taste of it this summer, and I'm like, this is going to be good. So
the future family gatherings as they're bringing in their spouses,
right.
and they're all their different personalities. I mean, you got one that's a baseball player, a golfer, you got a cheerleader, you've got kind of an artsy.
Yep, artsy. She very artsy, creative. Yeah. So I've been all over the spectrum. So yeah,
brother, you got your hands full.
Yeah, but it's been fun. It's been a great adventure. For sure.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit. So I know you kind of have a background in groups. At some point, you were doing a role just like me.
Yep.
And then you kind of oversaw groups guys before. And so just tell me a little bit about your passion about just why are groups important? I mean, in the local church.
Yeah. I think I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but I think any healthy church has to have a group structure. And I just don't know that you can be a just a really solid biblical church without without a group structure.
Right.
And I think it in three things. And I think one is it provides a great place for people to begin to form what I like to call biblical fellowship. More than just, I pour coffee and I talk to you, but it's the beginning of that fellowship that I think we were created for and that we need, and that community element. And then I think it also provides a great avenue for numerical growth. I think as groups grow, I think the church also helps to push that, because people need a place to connect, and a place, because people leave churches all the time because they don't feel like they're getting connected, that they need more than just a service to be a part of. And then I think the third thing is it really helps people grow spiritually. I like to call it like a greenhouse. They get into something like that. Maybe they've not ever been in a group before, and so they're learning to share their lives and be a little bit more vulnerable and transparent in small stages. They hear the word taught. They see other people who God's working in their lives, and it's just kind of like this. It just stimulates, I think, opportunity for spiritual growth. So I love them, and I'm wholeheartedly behind them.
Yeah. They play such a big role, because when you think about group ministry, I mean, you think about just even the Sunday morning worship service. I mean, you come in and you're part of a large crowd, and it can sometimes feel like you're just lost.
Right.
There's no one really holding you accountable, kind of like you saying, the greenhouse, spiritual growth. No one really knows you. In fact, there's even a stat like if someone doesn't have 7 friends in like the first few weeks of a church, they leave it.
Right.
Which that's just, again, reiterates this idea that group ministry is important.
Yep.
And what you do as a leader is very important, because without you, this would not happen.
Yep.
Right? We can't all just show up on Sunday morning to service and expect to grow at the level that happens within a group.
Right, for sure.
And so when we think about that, I think sometimes people always think group ministry is like a new age, 21st century idea. And so, Glenn, why don't you help us understand, where do we see groups really throughout Scripture? I mean, did Jesus have groups?
Well, that was one of our favorite lines. Jesus had his own small group, right? Jesus definitely did have a group, and we see that all throughout the Gospels. He had the 12, 72. He had 3 that he would often pull to the side and spend an extra amount of time investing in them. So again, we see Jesus really utilizing kind of a group-oriented ministry in order to really move a strategy down forward. I think you see that happening in the Acts, right? I mean, it even talks that they broke up into smaller groups. They did house fellowships and devoted themselves to one another. So I think you see it in the early church as this group structure. People say, "Oh, that was the first century church, and that's the only way they could meet." But I think there was real intentionality to that, because I do think they also gathered in larger spaces together. Again, I think you see it throughout the epistles. I think you get an idea that there are places where they were having smaller groups in formation. I think you see it in the Old Testament as well. How things were done in group life. So I see it littered throughout the Scriptures.
Yeah, because what's so fascinating about Jesus' life is that you can watch him kind of pulling through different environments, and every environment really has a different aspect to what he was doing.
Right.
And so we even kind of talk about the whole idea of like celebration, congregation, and cell, moving people from a large group setting to smaller group setting to kind of more of an accountability, kind of what we would know leaders as kind of the grow group setting. And Jesus was leveraging each of those environments in order to do different things, right? In order to invite people, in order to connect people, in order to train and equip. And it's important because you see that congregation piece, the connect group piece, being really the linchpin between moving people from far from God to becoming a disciple maker, right, of Jesus. And 100%. So, man, when you think about that, what are some stories maybe you have about people you've seen kind of go through that? They kind of came out of the worship center, went into the connect group, and you kind of seen how a healthy connect group was able to help them cultivate.
Yeah, I've got story after story of watching kind of that happen firsthand. But I I do. I think that every stage along the way becomes a significant milestone in someone's story as they're moving towards becoming what Jesus wants all of us to be, and that's a fully trained disciple who's capable of multiplying our life and being a world changer, right? So, and I think these connect groups that we have here are really so important. Let me just say to you group leaders, what you do every Sunday really matters. It really matters. But you were talking about stories. I think of a guy, Ben Borgman, who shows up. They've kind of in and out, large group, and their marriage was falling apart. Some of you guys might remember Ben, and just kind of they were in and out here, just really very discriminately, and things were falling apart in their life. But one Sunday, someone invites them to a group, and the rest is history. They go to a group, they start engaging with other couples, they start seeing some healthy relationships within that context. Someone in that group sees that they're having some struggles in their marriage. They help them get into some counseling in their marriage. They start having some health and growth in their marriage. They start being loved and feel valued. Then someone takes an interest in him and his spiritual development, starts asking him, hey, you want to be a part of a grow group? Gets in a grow group. And today, Ben is our executive director of Disciple First Ministries.
Wow.
And is having a huge lasting impact all across the country. And I think about that, and I think about, I could go on and on and on and on, story after story. Like a guy that's in my grow group right now. He, far from God, God does a work in his life. He has a kind of a Damascus moment, has a friend invite them here. They start coming to church for a little bit. Then they get into a group. God's doing some, he's starting to percolate, and he's like, man, it's got to be more. There's got to be more to this. And then I run into him from some other incidences, and then he gets into a discipling relationship with me. And now, God's doing a good and mighty work. He's just with me in Nepal. So, again, just story after story after story of I've seen literally people's lives changed through that process of groups.
Yeah. And what's interesting is every scenario you're saying is it all begin with an invite, right? Which I think sometimes as leaders of groups is that we can really underestimate the power of an invite, right? Often, let's just be honest, you just think, hey, the church is going to assimilate people to my groups. And so really the invite there for me is I don't need to. The group's got membership class, they're going to funnel people to me, which is all true.
Right. 100%.
But just like I was talking with Pastor Craig the other day, was the power of invite, man, can be the difference between someone staying stagnant in their spiritual growth and becoming a disciple maker of Jesus, or going off and leading in a nonprofit, helping other people become disciple makers, or just becoming a disciple maker in their workplace. And so it's just neat to me that oftentimes these connect groups, we kind of see them as, oh, they're just huddles. We come together, we kind of do some Bible study, we kind of hang out, we laugh, we go home, and then rinse and repeat and do it next week. But these really are the hub. They are the vehicle by which all the ministries of the church really happen. Without groups, no ministry is happening. There'd be no way to mobilize people. And then later, what we're going to talk about is this idea of moving people down a spiritual pathway.
Right.
Groups are the best way to do that.
100%.
So, Glenn, when we think about kind of groups and their function, what are some marks that you would say are of groups are healthy? When you're looking at a group and you go, man, that is a healthy, growing, multiplying group. What are some of the marks you would say, characteristics, things they're doing in the group or outside the group?
And I know we're going to kind of break this down a little bit, but over several podcasts. Yep. But I really think there are four things, and we talk a lot about. You and I talk about this a lot. Right. I see four really central characteristics of what I would consider a healthy group. One is that they are a group that grows its people, meaning. They are vestedly interested in where people are in their group, in their spiritual story or whatever, spiritual contentment, whatever, and helping them take those next steps. Critical. I think secondly, they grow their group, right? They're not just satisfied with, hey, we've got a handful of people in here, but we're looking, we're strategizing, we're thinking about how do we intentionally gather a few more into this fold so that they can experience what we're experiencing. Right there is a sense of, hey, we're bringing in new people who are maybe disconnected from the. I mean, they have the connection of the whole body, but they need some spiritual friendship. I think they're also growing leaders, right? I think what a great platform groups provide for people to try to take next steps in some leadership pieces as they work themselves up a spiritual or a leadership pipeline. And I think absolutely fundamental because they get to take small, simple steps. They go from attending maybe to, hey, can you help us formulate a party and have some parties? And hey, can you help us reach out to people maybe who've not been in a while? And they start to take small steps, and then all of a sudden those next steps turn into bigger steps, and then they may end up teaching, and then they end up maybe leading a group, and who knows, right? It just it can snowball into some really great things. And then the last one is growing a new group. And this is the one that it's the difficult piece, and we all admit it, and we all acknowledge it.
Don't split my group, Glenn. Don't split it.
But there is something special about seeing new groups being launched, so to speak, from that existing group. And as a group leader, if I were able to look around and see, man, there maybe are 5, 6 other groups that have come out of our own group. I mean, boy, what delight that would bring as a group leader, but then also, I mean, the joy and the delight that brings to the Lord.
Yeah.
Because the kingdom is growing and expanding.
Yeah. And I love it because it's so simple. Here's here's the 4 things. And then really this is what we're kind of leading into out of this is really these next 4 episodes we're going to get into is how do you grow your group? How do you grow your people? How do you grow new leaders? How do you grow new groups? Because these 4 things are what groups do that are growing and multiplying and are healthy. Right. And that's what we desire for all of you. We don't do this to go, we want to split your group up or cause pain. And I think some of that, I think kind of to pivot the conversation a little bit, I think some of that is managing the expectation of what is a group. Why are we doing this? Because oftentimes when we get into connect groups, everyone comes in with their baggage, right? They've got previous group experiences, maybe that's a Sunday school model, a home group model, or just whatever model you came from. And you come in with that expectation, and then it's not met.
Right.
And then everyone gets upset because they're like, well, I didn't find my best friend, or I didn't feel like the lesson was deep enough. We didn't get into the Greek and Hebrew of the lesson, right? These are all indicators that there's an expectation being made and then not being met either. And so when we think about connect groups, Glenn, what would you say are some of the things that people are going to experience when they come in? I mean, what is the experience of a connect group? What does it look like?
So I think first and foremost, they are going to begin to have some opportunity to develop some friends, some spiritual friends. We always say, hey, a friendly church isn't necessarily a place that it's easy to make friends. You can have a friendly church, but you better be a place that people can make friends, right? So I do think that there's, and that's why even having new groups coming up all the time, it becomes a little bit more simplistic for people to jump into a newer group than maybe a really existing group. It shouldn't be that way, but sometimes it is, because it's just easier to make some new contacts. But I think spiritual friendship, I think they ought to come in knowing they're gonna be hearing and teaching and interacting with the Word of God, hands on, right? It's one of the things I hope our groups do is it's not another lecture, but really an opportunity for there to be interaction in the group over the text,
right?
And which is the most important text, the Bible, right? I think that they can know that they're going to have opportunities to serve and to have low-level serving opportunities together. I was just yesterday, was with 3 of our Connect groups who were putting together backpacks, and they were having a blast. They brought their families. They were there. They were laughing. We had Chick-fil-A, and we were eating together, and then we started writing cards together, and then they were putting backpacks together, and then they had ice cream afterwards, and lots of people stuck around and talked and just had some fun together. But it they were serving, and they were meeting a specific need of some under-resourced kids who did not have backpacks going into this year, but they will have them because of some families in Connect groups coming together and seeing that that's not that's not going to happen. So I think those are some things that are legitimate, and I think catching a vision for what God truly wants their life to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you think about that Connect group space, right? I mean, it's definitely not a place where you're coming in and it's just lecture. Right. We've already got that. Right. Craig preaches a wonderful message on Sunday morning. Yep. We have no need for another person to stand up and teach the entire time. Right. This is a great space for people to be interactive. The best teacher is the one that is bringing out the lesson in the people. Right. Yep. I mean, you're drawing it out in conversation and discussion. Sometimes you got to work hard at that. Right. Sometimes that is something you really got to be intentional about. But there are also groups that build in fellowship, not just inside the group, but then outside the group. Right. I think sometimes we're really good about, we'll do a fifth Sunday. We kind of do a lot of fellowship events inside the group, but doing it outside is game changer. Like our young adult group that's how they multiplied.
Right.
They began to do events. They would put it out on the calendar weeks, months in advance and say, mark your calendar. Yep. And they would just roll with who they got. Yep. Some days it was 5 people. Some days it was all 30. Some days it was 15. Yep. Every single event was an invitation to those who didn't come to come to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're just spot on with that. And I think sometimes groups can get kind of stuck in this idea that, hey, if we do something outside the group and only a handful of people say they can come, we're going to cancel and not do it. But I look at some of our most healthiest groups, and one of the things I see is a lot of that. They are doing things outside their Sunday morning experience. Yeah. And sometimes, like you said, sometimes they have 5, but sometimes they have 20, and sometimes they have 15 or whatever. But they're doing that on a regular basis, and people. That's how you're cultivating those spiritual friendships.
Yeah, because think about it. I mean, this came to my mind. Trust is not built in just 1 hour.
Right.
Trust is built over days, weeks, months, years of hanging out with people. And it can't be just on one day a week. It's, hey, we're hanging out here and here. And you begin to really learn that person's story. I mean, I think of people like, the group Get Connected has been a group that we've had that's been large for a while. Yep. What do they do really well? They have a fifth Sunday. They're always socializing. They have events. They go to the Rangers game. They go golfing. They go and do these food events. They go to barbecue. I need to hook up with them because I want some barbecue.
Yeah, and they do some ice cream they'll do some like pool parties in the summer, and they bring homemade ice cream, and it is to die for. Yeah, honestly. But shout out to the Bogguses, by the way. They make some great ice cream.
Oh yeah, they do. But then I can hear the person right now on the other side of this going, "Well, Cameron, that's a lot of fun. Where's the Bible lesson?" Right. And again, that's the uniqueness of this group setting, is that what we're trying to do is get people into community. And we do that. We teach the Bible. We make it central to what we do and how we believe and how we act. But we do not that's not the end all be all, right? We are wanting to move people into relationships with one another because we know that's how people can then go deeper in their spiritual growth and become a disciple maker of Jesus. And so, Glenn, just to kind of begin to get this to wrap up, just for our first session, this first episode, what would you say is a practical takeaway just for the group leader on the other side of this mic and this screen for just having a healthy group? I mean, what would be the one thing, if you said you could do this really well, what would that be?
Ooh, boy, that's
a heavy one. I know.
That's a good question. Honestly, and this is going to be so simplistic.
Okay.
But group leaders, remember, what you do every week truly matters.
Yeah.
Every week, people are sitting in your group, and their eternities are there, and they matter, and what happens in that group matters. And I know it can sometimes be discouraging, but remember that this is the organism that God has created, the vehicle that He's created for people's journeys to be a part of helping it be transformative. Yeah. And I would just encourage you to lift your eyes off of hey, we only have this number or this or all these people, whatever that might be, and you get discouraged or whatever, because I know it happens. And just remember, this pleases the Lord. What you're doing pleases the Lord, and great things can happen.
Yeah. Well, that's a good word, right? Just remembering the importance of what you do. Remember your why, right?
Yep, remember your
Go
why.
back to your why. Go back to why did you do this to begin with? And most group leaders would say, because I was invited, I experienced a spiritual growth in this place, and I turned around and wanted to do the same thing for people.
Yep.
So with that, thank you for tuning in on this episode, and make sure to continue to just follow this and follow along for the next 4 episodes. We're going to kind of unpack this stuff a little bit in a greater way, and just individually walking through the different aspects of a healthy, growing, and multiplying group. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for having me, Cam.
Thanks.